Okay, well, Desiree from Steepfuze Coffee, welcome to the CBD Me interview series. We started carrying your products just a few weeks ago, and we want to talk about Steepfuze, about where you came from, about what you, as an entrepreneur, decided, why you decided to start this company, but also just talk about the product a little bit. And but first, you were surfing this morning.
I was.
How,
The waves are up.
how was the waves? Where do you live exactly?
I live in Ocean Beach in San
Uh,
Diego.
Okay, so at least it's a little bit. I mean, you still have to wear a wetsuit.
I just bought a wetsuit for the first time forever. It's like wearing a sweater in the water, which is really weird to me because I'm from Honolulu.
Yeah.
Uh, so I just bought a wetsuit. Techno butter is what the kind of like new wetsuit material is made of, and going surfing with clothes on is really strange, but it was cool. It was great. The winter time is the best time for the waves here in San Diego. So
Well, and that's how it is too up in San Francisco where I'm at. And a lot of my friends, they surf, and I'm just like, I don't know. If I grew up in Hawaii, I'd probably be a surfer. But I grew up in Utah, so I'm a snowboarder.
oh, there you go.
But I don't understand the appeal of yeah, surfing in the cold where you're wearing basically a sweater. You know?
It makes sense. It makes sense. If you grow up in a tropical place and you're always used to being in the water, then you come here and the water is just right there. You have to make the proper adjustments.
Right.
That
Yeah,
makes
that's
total sense.
I could endure. I could find a reason to endure if I grew up surfing, but without that, I just don't have the drive for it. But so tell me real quick. Did you grow up in Hawaii?
Yeah, I grew up in Hawaii. I was in the health insurance industry. My parents owned a health insurance company, so I learned a lot about health and how to do business to business sales. So I found my niche there.
Okay, so that wasn't I mean, doesn't sound like the sexiest job ever, but at least you learned a
No,
lot.
I did. I did. I learned a lot how to talk to different people and different investors and people who own businesses. So in doing that, I came to California, and I started as I transitioned over to a hemp broker from an insurance broker with mountains of flour and how to distribute that and get that into different retailers and different buyers. So I was on the hemp scene, and I had 1,000-foot view of what was going on in the industry and where we were going in California.
And that was because that's an interesting transition to go from the traditional health, which is like health,
Mhm.
to the real like natural health. So I mean, was that a weird transition? Because were you always like into the cannabis, or was this something that you just learned because of the changing laws and stuff?
Great question. So cannabis has always been a part of the culture in Hawaii. And when I moved to California, I do have friends that are in the cannabis industry in a big way. So every business is the same. So utilizing the business talents that I grew over time in the health insurance industry, and being able to come in contact with people here in California that I was close to that are in that industry. Hemp drew me more because I saw how you could sell it. And I saw that there's a lot of health benefits. So for me, naturally seeing a product like that, I innately knew how to sell it and distribute it, and to go to big business owners and have them become purchasers.
Yeah. So was that? I mean, how much of a transition was that really from what you
No,
originally did? Not really, nothing.
no, well, because every business is the same. Business is business no matter what it is, right? And it was great. The only transition was not dealing with, corporate assholes, and being
Yeah.
able to deal with farmers on the other hand.
Uh-huh.
So I enjoyed that transition to deal with more people who are like-minded. So
Yes. Right. The stuff shirt, uh, yeah, corporate guys, you don't have to deal with those. But the cannabis industry is also interesting in that you got a lot of amateurs, you got a lot of weird sort of weirdos that started so you have to avoid
weirdos.
them or
There's lots of weirdos, definitely. Yeah, because it was illegal. So you do have those rookies that would try to transition. What I saw was that no one had the right business skills. No one believed in sales and marketing. No one had that edge. and trying to, so finding, and then being that broker and finding that niche and knowing that there's that hole and trying to place myself in there as an industry leader, it took time. So there's people who, like I said, don't believe in it. So that, I'm pitching things. I'm trying to help these businesses that see my skill from being a broker and they want to bring me on, but they don't have the money or the know-how to back it up. And in doing that, working with Steepfuze, I don't own Steepfuze, I am the sales manager for it on the West Coast. So seeing that there was a company with good business morals, that has a good product, that has actually quality control, that's all sourced from grade A resources like our strain and the labs that we use for extracting, and the coffee source that we had in Colorado, and how it was all centralized. They've been doing this since 2014. I was a no-brainer. There's no one else doing that. So being in San Diego, which is the perfect place for people who are more health conscious, and our target demographic is baby boomers because they are the ones with the money to be able to afford expensive product, and relating to them. Coffee and tea, I saw, were the best way to do that. So to introduce CBD as itself in the San Diego market, as well as Steepfuze, it integrated pretty flawlessly after this whole wholesale campaign we've been doing since the beginning of summer. So we have some choice accounts right now locally, but we also are expanding.
Yeah. And so can people in San Diego actually go to a coffee shop and get CBD coffee now?
Yes, they can. So
are there other places in the country you can do that?
They are starting up in Seattle, and Portland. So what you do is you just see the other states who have legalized it previously to your state, and that's what's going to happen as far as rules, expansion, and progress. But what Washington was legalized maybe a year or two ago, but California has come as far as Seattle. So we're developing CBD coffee shops here in California, and they're doing the same thing in Washington right now. So we're kind of ahead of the curve.
Do you have to ID?
No, it's not illegal. CBD is non-psychoactive cannabinoid, so it can be carried at any coffee shop or retailers or grocery store. So that's another reason why I got into CBD, because no one's trying to legalize it or set rules as much as the THC industry.
You were a cannabis broker, and then you came across.
No, I was a hemp broker.
Hemp broker.
Yeah.
Now that's actually an interesting little Freudian slip there, because people get hemp and cannabis confused. So how do you explain the difference between hemp and cannabis? I'm curious how you differentiate them.
Well, so every cannabis plant, you're going to have THC and CBD, right? And a hemp plant is a plant that produces mostly the CBD part of the plant, and that can be tested through your lab after your crop's grown. And legally, it is a hemp plant if it's 3% below 3% and below THC. So cannabinoids found in that hemp plant, and that's how you consider it industrial hemp.
Yeah, and that's a point that we have to hit home continuously, because people always still get that confused. They don't know the difference. They think it's just hard to differentiate because they don't know that hemp is a totally different plant, basically. So
exactly. Everything from the stems are hollow because hemp grows fast. THC, you have those really thick condensed stems because they grow a little slower, it's not like a weed as much as hemp is.
And there's different strains of the hemp too, just kind of there's different strains of cannabis too. That's the same diversity almost, right? Or it's at least getting there, isn't it?
Oh, exactly. So we use our strain for our coffee. It's called Wife. And it has the right terpenes that match our flavonoids in our coffee beans. So we found the right match there. So you don't have that hemp taste when you consume our coffee.
I did notice that when I made it. I made a product video that we're cutting together as we speak.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
It was really interesting to, I could see that the coffee was super high quality because of the flowering that was happening. I was using a French press and I was pouring the water over it. It was just beautiful the way it was bubbling up, and it was very oxygenated. And but what's interesting was that I did smell just a little bit of the hemp though. It's not overpowering, but you can definitely tell that it's like, oh, this is coffee, but there's something else in here.
Definitely. And
Gives
that's
it a really cool experience.
that is cool. I'm glad you were able to experience that. And I mean, that's why adding just like a tincture oil to your coffee cup doesn't give you the same results as far as bioavailability, even to the taste. Because you don't, if you're a coffee drinker and that's your routine, you don't want to mix up your routine with something that tastes bad. So we made sure that wasn't.
Yeah,
As
because
much as possible.
the other thing about the CBD industry and also the hemp, or cannabis industry is that people just kind of throw this stuff in almost everything.
Yeah.
And so it could have been just like this silly kind of like, CBD coffee, but you guys really did it right. And you're really a coffee company first, what I can tell, because the coffee is so good. And then it's like, well, now we have this really special process, which is unique to you, of how to actually infuse the CBD. Because it's not just like you just mix the CBD in with the beans. It's actually a specific process that you came up with. So what can you share about that?
Well, it's patent pending, but what we do is we take the green bean, and we roast the bean. And right when it's roasted, within hours, when it's very porous, is when we do an even spray of full spectrum CBD. And then we let it sit. We do quality control. We make sure that bean isn't sticky. We make sure it's totally infused. Because when you get your coffee bag, you'll look at your bean. There's no sticky. There's no way to tell that is in no way, shape, or form just another regular coffee bean, right? So, because we infuse it like that, it becomes part of the bean, and it binds to the highly bioavailable oils of the coffee bean. And if you know anything about coffee, you know that the coffee oils your body's able to digest them at a very rapid rate. That's why you get the effects of caffeine so quickly, right? So by binding those oils with the full spectrum oils, you have the highest bioavailability with your CBD, as opposed to any other product you consume.
Now that's interesting. I didn't realize that. So it's absorbed more readily because it's infused with a coffee bean, which is already something that's easily digested.
The oils,
the
exactly.
oils, yeah.
Yeah, the oils in the coffee, which are highly bioavailable as well.
Interesting. Yeah, well, I found that to be true because I'm actually drinking. Well, I made some of this morning. This is the Origin, right? No, this is New Mountain. Excuse me. Both of them are delicious. This one specifically I really liked because the flavor profile is exactly as described. I mean, it really is. It says semi-sweet chocolate, tart berries, and caramel. And I also tasted just a little bit of citrus, but I always seem to taste citrus in coffee. I don't know how, but I really loved it, even just black. But what I did is I actually made the butter coffee, which is part of my review. I put some butter in there and some MCT oil. So you mentioned how when you combine the CBD with caffeine, it kind of subdues the caffeine effect, which is interestingly enough how I like the butter coffee. So talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so what coffee does is the major negatives from caffeine when you're drinking your coffee are what? They are the jitters. It's a highly diuretic. It also can cause heartburn if you're susceptible to acid reflux. So what CBD does combined with the coffee is it takes out all those negative side effects. So you're not going to have a caffeine crash. It allows you to deliver that caffeine in a very smooth way. So it's not so much that it's taking away from the caffeine, but it's allowing your body to absorb and transition in a better flowing process. So like a wave, right? It comes and it goes and it's slow and steady, and then it just disappears, and all of a sudden you are not high on caffeine anymore. But it's not a total crash. It's just you find it very apparent. You're like, I realize.
Yeah, it is. It's a shocking difference when you realize how jittery you can get. If you just go to what I normally do is, sorry to admit this, but I'll go to Starbucks and I'll get the regular Pike Place, blend and everything, and it just shoots you straight up to the moon usually. And I did notice that. So was that something that they expected, or is that something that they just kind of discovered after they kind of?
It was all in discovery process. I think there was about over 500 tests done of ratios and combinations of beans and CBD oil to come up with the right combo.
Yeah. So talk about that process because the people who the owners of the company or the product developers, how did they, what's their background and how did they kind of come up with this whole concept even?
Great question. So Devin, he is our CEO and our founder. He was in a really bad snowboarding accident. And so about 4 years ago, when CBD oil became more apparent, he, avid coffee drinker, would drink his coffee and take his CBD oil afterwards. And then he had that aha moment, maybe especially because his next door neighbor was a coffee roaster.
Mm.
So in doing those combos and testing it out, that's where he came up with the idea. And he has a lot of friends who are prevalent in the THC and CBD industry as well. And they would be the test rabbits, right? So they would, I heard one story where one batch, a friend of his tried, went to work to start work and realized that he has left his house keys locked in his house and he doesn't have his keys to get into his warehouse. So that batch was okay. That they didn't go. But there's a lot of instances and stories I heard along those lines.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. And that reminds me of a saying that I hear from, I think Tony Robbins says is that life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And so if he hadn't gotten in that snowboard accident, lived next to the neighbor he lived, and like it all kind of came together, it sounds like.
Exactly.
So that's pretty amazing. And so how long do they go through the testing process, and how long?
It's about a year and a half of testing just different batches before they finally bought the name Steepfuze LLC, which was in 2014. They're like, look, we're just going to run with it. I think we got it. And in doing that, they've conquered, the mountain towns. They're in like Lucky's Natural Grocer, but they didn't really have an expansion on the West Coast. And at the time when we were talking about bringing it to the West Coast, they were also starting with the tea line. So they've really changed to a specialty tea and coffee, CBD infused tea and coffee company right now. And the tea is getting really popular as well.
Yeah, and you've got the new mountain blend, which is I love the origin and the new mountain blend, and you also have the decaf version. So I want to talk about the teas, but I mean, what about these beans? Like, tell me about the beans in these coffees.
Oh, for sure. So our new mountain blend is, like I said, it's a blend. The beans are grown at a very high elevation in Brazil and Uganda. So, and they're all organics, all certified organic beans. Our origin is an Ethiopian blend. That's our most drinkable. The founders, both of them, their favorite. Basically, these are gourmet beans. So you're buying your gourmet beans and getting your CBD for free. Is what we say. So the decaf is amazing too. I love decaf. It's great for like after a workout, in the evening. You don't want that caffeine. It's Swiss water extracted, so it's very clean, and you feel the effects of the CBD automatically. In every 8-ounce cup, you're going to get about 15 milligrams of CBD.
Yeah.
And the tea, 10 milligrams at every 8-ounce cup. So it's a little bit above your standard dosing, right? Because everyone says about, start with 10 grams, but what we at Steepfuze really want to give you your money's worth and show you what our product can do.
Yeah, well, it's not, and that's not a huge dose, but it's a little bit higher than normal. I mean, I just got done with Sober October, and I was actually using CBD to help with alcohol cravings, which is actually something that really does work.
Yeah, as opposed to sugar.
Oh, sugar! I was eating a lot of sugar.
Me too.
Did you do Sober October?
No, I just don't really drink.
Oh, okay.
It's Halloween, so it's just yeah. But I should have been drinking my tea.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about the tea real quick because is this infused in some way, or how does it actually delivered?
Yes, it's infused. It's the similar process. So as we're drying out the berries or the citrus fruits, we as soon as that process is done, we do a spray and infuse it in our facility, and we watch it, make sure everything is infused properly, and good to go.
Which teas? We have herbal hibiscus, citron green, and then a black blend. Which tea do you prefer?
Okay, well, there's stories on each one. So the hibiscus one is our all herbal, non-caffeinated, because CBD helps you retain water, helps you stay hydrated. that hibiscus tea would be a real great additive with some vodka on a hot day, so iced, right? So you're not getting dehydrated, you're getting your CBD, you're not too hyphy, you're still able to get a little buzz, but not be a little outrageous. So I suggest that. I mean, that's great for like festivals. The citrus, the green tea is awesome. It's mildly caffeinated, but if you steep any green tea now for 2 minutes, you'll get the antioxidants less the caffeine. So the green tea will give you that option, and it's great for digestion. So you can have that, that move around room for the green tea. The black tea is if people want a cup of, they're trying to transition from coffee and they want to go to tea. It's highly caffeinated. So it's like drinking a cup of coffee as well. Or just people who prefer tea and want some caffeine. And all loose leaf, responsibly sourced and organic as well.
Yeah. I can't wait to try these. I actually haven't tried the teas yet, but they look amazing. If they're anything like the coffee, I'm sure they're very well thought out. The packaging is really cool. I think at the company, they really take care of everybody. It's really, really cool to see that. I'm curious, do you have a personal story with CBD?
Me, yeah, of course I do. I paddle outrigger canoe. So you see a boat with a little thing sticking out of it and riding out, alongside the water. That's what an outrigger canoe is. And I paddle competitively for the past 10 years, been paddling for 13 years. And it's basically you have a paddle and you're pulling a 300-pound canoe. So your body gets really tired, and our races are 32 to 42 miles. We do a race from Seal Beach to Catalina. So in that time, you're racing about 36 miles. You're 4 to 5 hours is your race. And afterwards, you lock up because women naturally aren't built like men up top. So that's where we're using muscles that are, from the beginning of time, adapted to pulling things, right? So my body's tired. And after a practice or after a race, the next day I feel like a brick. I can't move anything. But you drink a little bit of the CBD decaf coffee is what I tried the first time before I went to bed. I woke up, I'm in my mid-30s. I woke up feeling like I was 21 again. I was, oh my God, wow, let's go do that again. And I was sold.
Really?
Yeah.
And did you even expect that, or what was the expectation?
No, not at all. I just knew that I didn't have any Advil. So, right, I don't have any Advil. What am I going to do? I got to take care of myself. And I just had one cup before I went to bed.
And that was 20 so 15 milligrams of CBD in the coffee. And so now, is this a daily thing for you?
Oh yeah. What I like, because if you do CBD regularly, you can see a dramatic decrease in your anxiety levels, and because it creates homeostasis in your body, it just makes you happier. So at least drinking a cup every day for 5 days, I do it during the work week, it makes me on it.
Yeah, I've actually noticed that too. When I was doing Sober October, it just, I just didn't even care to drink. And then also, when you're at a party and stuff, you have that, I don't know, you feel like everyone kind of hides behind alcohol when they're partying and everything. Mm-hmm. And so it's nice. What I noticed about CBD is that I didn't have that anxiety. I didn't feel like I needed to drink, not because I didn't have cravings for it, but because it was like, I just don't need to like hide behind catch
that drunk
liquid courage. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh shit, it's dying down. I'm not going to be that funny in about 30 minutes. I need another shot.
Right. Exactly. And it turns out I was funny still, I could still crack stupid dad jokes and stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
And when you're not drunk, the stuff that you think is funny is not funny. And then the stuff you don't think is funny is hilarious. So can't figure that out. But it's a really interesting, I'm still starting my CBD journey as it goes, because it has so many different applications. It's really hard to like pick one that it can help with.
Oh, for sure.
I think it's just a matter of taking it in and just seeing what it could help you with. Like, you didn't even expect that it was going to help your shoulders. And now,
exactly.
Do you ever get tight anymore?
Oh yeah, every day. Like I wake up you know what I mean? But I have the CBD and I do the rollers and the stretches. But if it wasn't for the CBD, I wouldn't be able to get any of that deep tissue because I'd be so tense. I mean, even after surfing. So I love it. And it's just how to work it into your schedule that works for you. You know what I mean? Like making a cup of coffee works for me. I can press the button. You know, I'm not going to do the oil. I already took my vitamins, just like so much. So I was able to incorporate it easily with that, you know.
You know, that's another thing. I take a lot of supplements, and sometimes I feel like the only thing I eat for breakfast is supplements.
Right? Like vitamins. I'm like, I'm not going to eat till 11 because of all this stuff. But yeah.
Some weird futuristic meal or something. Yeah. Well, what is ahead for Steepfuze in 2019 and beyond?
Great question. So we're just establishing ourselves as a premier CBD infused tea and coffee company, opening wholesale accounts and really getting our word out there and spreading education about CBD.
Cool. And you guys are very active in the scene and in the event scene. I've seen, right? Have you have any plans to go to some events in 2019?
Sure. Everything that CBD you and me invites us to.
Oh, perfect. Well, we have our jiu-jitsu event, which went very well. That was the first, that was Subversive, where we first had launched this product with us and gave it out to some fighters, and they've all been very positive about it. And so, you know, it's been really, really great working with you guys. And I mean, I can tell that the company is bringing in really good people, which is a really good sign. And, you know, based on their packaging and their commitment to everything and just the process they went through to make amazing coffee infused with amazing CBD, you know, they're doing a lot of things right. And so I would definitely highly encourage that you support them and CBD Me by purchasing some of this stuff from our website. We have 3 ounce, so it comes in 3 ounce, and we have the 12 ounce as well. So these are the small bags. I got about like 4 cups of coffee out of this, right? Or 4 or 5 cups. Is that about right?
Yeah, and you can reuse the grind. So you could you do a French press, put a couple tablespoons in, you make your cup. You could use that again. So feel free to use it twice. You don't want to waste any CBD. You can also, start a slow integration. Maybe if your 1 cup of coffee takes 2 tablespoons, you do 1 tablespoon of CBD coffee, 1 of your regular, to kind of mix it in that way as well. And you can also, with those dried coffee grounds, you put them out on a pan and have them dry like overnight. You can make a coffee scrub. So because CBD opens up your blood vessels and allows the blood to move freer and faster, you deplete your fine lines and wrinkles. So
I remember you mentioned that. So tell me why would I want to do a coffee scrub? You guys said the wrinkles and stuff?
Yeah, because like I said, what CBD does is open your blood vessels and allow blood to move through it faster, right? Which creates repair. And also what that does is decrease your fine lines. So you're opening up those blood vessels, having them run through, and you're going to get a more plumper, eye area or mouth area. So you leave those coffee grounds to get dry. Maybe add it to like an avocado mask and make it like a scrub and leave it on there. And you could do that for your whole body. So if you just collect it, put it in a jar after, day 5, dry it out, and go in the shower, have some fun.
That's great. I actually would I'm not really in, maybe I'll do that with the decaf. My wife will be like, "What are you doing?" No, it's really good stuff. And yeah, I mean, I've been enjoying taking this every day. Yeah, I think that's a good idea actually, because it is the CBD makes it a little bit more expensive than a regular cup of coffee. So mixing it with your current coffee is a good way to also test out the dosing. Exactly. Let it stretch a little bit longer. And I made that mistake, by the way. I did not reuse the beans, so I had thrown away some CBD. So that's good advice as well to remember. So I think we've covered almost anything. Is there anything else that you want to make sure that everyone knows about Steepfuze?
No.
Right now. We covered it all. This is everything. So like I said, this is available on cbdme.com. And look out for it in local San Diego and I guess Colorado coffee shops as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Desiree. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, take care.
All right, bye.